I'm French nationality, and I also have the Indian nationality because I was born in India and grew up partly in France, partly in various other places in Africa, in Sri Lanka also. And now I live in Rotterdam in the Netherlands, as you can see here. And I work since about a year and a half in a really, really cool foundation. It's called the DOEN Foundation in Amsterdam, which basically invests and supports pioneers all over the world that are trying to make the world a little bit of a better place. So through supporting green or environmentally conscious startups, and also through supporting socially inclusive initiatives, neighborhood initiatives, and through supporting arts and creativity and freedom of expression worldwide. So I work for the International Culture Program, where we support cultural organizations, mostly in Northeast West Africa and the Middle East. And it's really nice, it's really, really fun. Especially actually in these times, because a lot of, well, society is breaking down a little bit with the fact that we have so many measures to fight against the virus. A lot of cultural workers, artists, etc., they can't make a living anymore, right? Because they can't give their performances, they can't produce their arts, or they can't have visitors, whatever. So it's right now really an interesting time to do this work. Apart from that, I'm also a little bit of a cultural enthusiast myself, just not from my work. So I've always worked in culture. I've always done music, writing, and maybe I can. Oh, hello.
Yeah, we hear you.
Oh, my screen shut off. Okay. Maybe I can share a little bit of my poem, so that you get a little bit of an idea of what kind of creativity I'm up to. So as I said before, but you were not recording yet, so I'll repeat it. This was written in December 2017, after I came back from Palestine on a mission with, you guessed it, my mother and theater of transformation. Because I was, you can't turn oil into water, but you can turn it into blood. You can't turn humans into hounds, but tie chains around their necks. And once the blood bleeds out, they're bound to fight over what's left. You can't turn sand into stone, but build a throne from broken bones. You can't turn corpses into cash. So when the marrow turns to ash, the world won't be your home with no tomorrow for your past. Yeah. It's a little bit of a difficult poem, but I usually try to write things that are trying to reveal something about what I see or what I observe, and yeah, trying to take the bad side in all its lights, but also try to take a little bit of the good side sometimes. What else can I say about myself is that I did, before coming to the Netherlands to work here, I did between my master's in intercultural communication and coming here, I went back to my father's town, Avignon in France, for 1 year approximately, where I was accepted by an NGO that does what in France we call service civique, which is basically like a civic service to community or to the nation, kind of. So, so there's a civic service organization that accepted me for a project that I had proposed to basically take survey interviews, so take sentences and phrases from people in the outskirts of the city, and photos also, so mainly young people, and exhibit these along the walls surrounding the inner city. Unfortunately, I didn't get the permit to put them up on the walls because they're UNESCO World Heritage. So I managed to put them up somewhere else instead, which was also really nice. But the aim was really to try to bring together different perspectives and try to make people coexist with faces that they wouldn't otherwise really see or want to see. And I thought that photography and art and poetry was really nice and creative way to do that. And I worked with really fun people and cool kids, and that was a really amazing experience.
That is great. And in your poem, you mentioned the notion of home. And since we are here on behalf, I would say, of Home for Humanity, which you are a co-founder also, could you maybe elaborate a bit on what is home for you, especially also with the connection to Home for Humanity?
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because, I'm part of those kids that grew up in a lot of different places, and I don't have a true kind of feeling of a place where I really grew up, and that was where all my kind of friends are, or the this notion of home is then confronted in such much more of a conceptual way, and I feel like being part of Home for Humanity also makes us really reflect on what that means, and I think I'm not finished with that reflection. I think there's two things that always come to the center. This is very strange. The screen keeps on shutting down. There's two things that kind of always come to the center, which are somewhere where some place. So like it has to be also a physical place, which is difficult in these times, right? But a physical place where you feel that you are yourself, and seems really broad and general, but actually when I really boil it down, I think that's what I come to. And sometimes I catch myself feeling at home in places that I've never been before. And we also have this talk sometimes with my girlfriend that sometimes we visit a place and we're all of a sudden, wow, like we feel so at home. And I think it's actually this fact that you feel you can be yourself and that you're seen for being yourself. So that's, and your question actually is really nicely hooked up to my poem, because that's exactly what I meant. That if we don't have that place where we can be ourselves but also seen as ourselves, then there's no place where anybody can do that, and there's not really any tomorrow for the past or for today. So yeah. It's also really nice to have some animals in your house. So I do really feel like my mom's and Alexander's house, which is formerly called Home for Humanity, but just the house itself for me is quite homely, because we have a family there. We have my dog and my cats. So that makes a huge difference. But I think it's definitely mostly my first point about feeling you can be yourself.
Thank you. Also,
oh no, I cannot hear you.
Oh,
So yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now again, yeah.
Okay. Maybe even to build on that. So Home for Humanity is becoming ever more like also a catalyst for other people, organizations, initiatives. And I just wanted to know how, in that sense, how did it affect you and inspire you to maybe also open up your home now in the Netherlands for creative or transformative actions or initiatives? How did that come with you to the Netherlands? Let's say it this way.
Yeah, Yeah, I like that question. Let's see if I like the answer as much. Yeah. Look, there's one thing I think maybe I could have mentioned it in the home question. I should have mentioned it in the home question, is the fact of hosting. I think a place where you feel yourself is also a place where you feel you can show others what that place is, and that you can kind of bring them and introduce them to that space, and kind of make them experience the space, and you can guide that. And I think in the sense, the notion of hosting is really, really central to Home for Humanity, as you can see, it goes so deep as to being such a big essence of Alexander's character also, that really both of my mother and Alexander, they really have this in their character. And I think I definitely, at least more and more, I feel since the beginning of this project of Home for Humanity, this feeling of hosting people, and like really having a home to which people can come, and we engage in a conversation, and we eat good food, and we create something, could it be painting or whatever. We are actually, okay, no, I'm being recorded, so I shouldn't say this, but we're having some friends coming over to do painting on Thursday. We're not supposed to meet with people, but we thought, look. So yeah, it's really, I think this notion has really, really come into my life, at least definitely much more since the start. And other than that, I hope more is to come, as the dream also of Home for Humanity unfolds. I think we also expand our networks, and we'll have more people here to invite here that are also in the network of Home for Humanity, and these kind of things. So that I'm definitely looking forward to. Yeah, and of course my little shrine here in the back is also a sort of product, an export of Home for Humanity in one way or another. Yeah.
Nice, thank you for sharing that with us. Maybe Sophie, you can carry on.
So, yes, I have a question concerning about you said about a home, and it's the place that you are yourself. So maybe you can tell us more about yourself, and how, like, I think that now in this context of KAO, we're more reflecting about ourselves. So maybe you can share us, I don't know, like if you had a memory challenge or kind of a shadow in your life, and how this inner purpose just changed because of maybe heart or your writing, and how it evolves over time, and also especially in these crises. That's hard.
These are difficult questions, huh? Is it gonna get harder or easier? Okay, so maybe something some more personal about it, maybe a challenge that I overcame, and something that especially also reflects in these times when of a little bit of staying at home. Or did I get it correct? I think I must say that I would like it to be certain things. I would like the answer to this question to be something. But the fact is that it is not completely that thing. But maybe I can start by saying what I would like it to be. Yeah, I think, I mean, of course, the act of writing and the act of composing your ideas, frustrations, anger, passion, admiration into texts and challenging yourself, not just to write it freely, but challenging yourself to a specific form and maybe a rhyme, or I think that specific challenge to hold it in this very limiting shape has for me always been a way to overcome challenges, whether it be of course breakups, or just challenges of growing up, or very, very difficult things that I see in society or in my life. And so I think the poem that I read at the very start, that was definitely in a moment of anger and of challenge and of kind of frustration towards just humanity as a whole. There are things that we're able to do and that we've been able to do that are just unspeakably, just tragic and nonsensical. But instead of kind of living in bitterness, it was a very overcoming practice, at least for myself, to try to put what I felt in words. What I would like to be doing at the moment is more of that, but I haven't yet managed. But this question is also coming to me as a friendly reminder that I should keep trying. And I think I think I can take also this opportunity to really I would encourage anybody who has been being lazy with their passion, or lazy with small things, drawing, doing yoga, all these kind of things, that now is the moment so much to kind of use this bottled up energy that we're having to put it to something that you really feel you can overcome your life challenges through. So yeah, I will take my own advice on that.
And maybe since you can be considered an artist with all the writing.
Could you repeat, because it got a little bit cut off, your voice?
Yes, sorry. So as we said, in this difficult time, maybe what do you think that is the role of the artist to maybe reshape the narrative of all our country, because we're losing kind of our origin, and how can an artist can reshape it?
That's really nice. I can start by saying this. Maybe there was really, really nice what I said in the beginning when I was introducing my work, and maybe it was a bit weird that I said that it was a really nice time to work for that, because of course right now, especially in countries where there's no kind of social or economic safety net, especially not for artists, the fate of artists is really bad at the moment. Kenya, Uganda, also places where the freedom of expression is always kind of a little bit under tension. But the thing is that, okay, on one hand, you really see artists struggling and trying to find solutions, but on the other hand, you see artists who are now more than ever, despite not having money, despite kind of having everything taken away from them, they're still finding ways, somehow, not paid, not seen, doesn't matter, but to inspire people and to give people hope. And I've seen that so much recently, and how being an artist, at least in the way that I see it, is not just kind of a self, like a digestive process for the self, but the very fact of creating something means that you're also showing. You're also producing something to be shown. And for that thing to be shown, it has to be worth seeing, and things are worth seeing at a moment more than others. Maybe in specific contexts, something can mean a lot, and in others, something else. So yeah, so what I've seen is, I mean, what I've heard of, and from our network, just the fact of, for instance, I don't. So there's three. Okay, just very quickly, I'll give an example. There's three cultural organizations that operate in Lebanon, Jordan, and Syria. Etijahat, Mofradat, and Al Mawrid. The three big cultural organizations there. And they said, okay, we're not going to be able to do any of our programs activities, right? So we're just going to shift all the budgets to supporting all the artists and give them a basic income so that they can keep creating and keep showing their communities, keep the freedom of speech alive, keep inspiring people and giving them the space to dream. And I think this is really important because when you're locked up somewhere, you have to be able to dream. And maybe we now realize much more than, at least in the West, we now realize much more than ever how much art can make us dream, and how important that is. So it's a little bit of silence after my questions.
Yeah, we always have to check who's not answering, posing the next question a bit. So talking about this change and transforming, and since we're now at almost at the halt in society, like it's almost a bit past currently, right? And the future is a bit uncertain. Is it going in this direction or in that direction? And when I heard one of your raps, or I guess it's like slam poetry a bit, there was this one sentence that struck me, and it was, we should honor the past but not repeat it. And it was under the kind of Art Stop a Bullet initiative of Bill Kelly. And I really like that sentence. So what's something that we maybe should honor but not repeat it now, before and after this crisis?
Yeah, I mean, for me it's very clear, and maybe what's really nice about this situation, if there's anything nice, is that it might become more clearer for more people. There's look, in general, we do a lot of unnecessary things as human beings, as nations, as post-industrial, postmodern societies. There's so much that is unnecessary, and we're running around hurting each other, hurting ourselves, hurting the planet on a daily basis. For what exactly? To generate more so that we can have more, so that we can generate more from it, and there's this kind of endless race, just to keep doing things and unnecessarily. And this is, of course, I mean, like, I think the beautiful images that everybody has probably seen once or twice of animals coming back to cities and blah blah. That's definitely a sort of a small flash of light coming from one of those directions. saying, look, actually, if you took a little bit more chill, maybe you would be a little bit more in harmony with this planet that we're living in, for instance. But that's just one small aspect, I think, of it. And what we have to learn, maybe what I think we have to learn from this, is just to learn to live life a little bit more according to necessity, and don't do unnecessary things. Don't just don't do it. If you this is getting a little bit funny, but no, but I truly believe it, and I think it's like really this wake up call of trying to reduce movements, reduce unnecessary continuous activity of producing and running around, having meetings. And the counterpart of that is that if everybody relaxes, then we also have a more healthy planet, more healthy mind, soul, more healthy societies due to that. I think so. Yeah. I mean, I could keep on talking, but for me, it's very clear, and I think, yeah, I'm excited. Unfortunately, there's a little bit of excitement. I would, yeah, realize this right now.
I didn't quite understand the last words. I'm not sure. What did you say just before that? I'm sorry.
The last sentence
broke off. Yeah.
No, I think just that I think people, and I'm excited that people might more and more starts realizing that it's that we have to slow down and that we have to take life a little bit more chill, maybe, yeah, and just take more care of ourselves, take more care of each other, and Mother Nature.
Definitely. I also think there could be some big opportunities out of these times of crisis. And I was also thinking, like, could this actually lead to more unity and more cohesion in the world? And also, how could this be, kept up, this sort of solidarity between us? I don't know how it is in the Netherlands at the moment, but here in Switzerland, we have a lot of neighborhood initiatives. Do you think this can be upheld? How would that? What's the essence of it? What does it need to be?
Yeah, they're not getting easier, the questions. Yeah, there was a similar reflection that I had. I don't remember. It was some really bad thing that happened, like at some kind of bombings or attack. I don't remember which one exactly. I'm sorry. And the kind of follow-up to that, of course, divided people a lot. But in one way, it was almost as if we're just kind of sleeping around and waiting for something big to happen so that we can have a reason to all come together and fight for something in common. But if there isn't that one thing, then what unites us with other people, we're not sure. And this is a little bit that kind of situation. I think that we somehow realize that it doesn't really matter what your story is and what your opinions are, where you're coming from, because we're all going to have to kind of at one point stay home and respect a little bit the measures that are being imposed on us for the common goods. Now, how can we keep this? I think it's a little bit, on the one hand, it's a little bit dreaming, but I would hope that we can see how important it is to find messages that unite us as a whole, and not just not opinionated messages, and that's we use very much too often, myself included, and then we kind of unite under that message. And then of course it's not actual unity, because you're closed in a group with people that agree with you, and that everybody closes themselves in their own feedback bubble. But what truly unites us beyond these ideological and whatever physiognomical characters? And I think that's really something that deserves so much attention. I don't know yet. Maybe if I start writing again more, I will find the answer to that challenge. But I think it's about really having a kind of a narrative under which we feel like we're united beyond all these things that seem to maybe seen in certain angles divide us. Okay, that's great, but before that, we're united in this. I would, like I said, I would be dreaming a little bit to say that we're just humans. It's just humans. As humanity, we need to unite. It's a little bit cheesy, but listen, that's what I think. But yeah, I think it really comes to the attention, this idea of having a common narrative, a common motive that is way beyond anything that we believe or think, because it doesn't. I mean, there are skepticals, but we're still subject in a way to this greater narrative, which is this pandemic, and at one point we were all affected by it, and we all have to do our part in keeping our societies as safe and as clean as possible. So yeah, maybe you guys can help with that, finding a narrative for the after Corona. I wish I had a better answer, but
no, but that's a hard question. But I was also thinking about what you said about unity, and how do you think that, which role is Home for Humanity? What is the role for Home for Humanity to keep this unity?
Yeah. So I really like that you asked that now, because now I can bring together a lot of the ideas that came up during the talk. So as I said before, the thing about hosting, and I think that's really important part of Home for Humanity. But the process of hosting is also a process of on talk shows and stuff, there's on panels, there's a moderator, but that's a host. But the word moderating is actually really interesting, because also what my thesis research was on. But you kind of introduce, you kind of mediate certain experiences that the people that you are hosting are receiving, very technically. But I think Home for Humanity has a little bit this vision of, in the way that we host, whether it be events or just guests, or to break down this kind of divisive way of addressing reality, and rather hosts using this broader humanity narrative. Yeah, it's really clear in my mind, but I'm not sure if I made it understandable. But I think that's really where Home for Humanity has that power, is to kind of, what I said before, bring people together beyond what they believe, etc., but in the way that we host. I hope, and therefore create a kind of more overarching unity, rather than a unity based on a message or a idea. It's very challenging, but it's possible.
Thank you. So maybe since we're now back at home, basically, maybe you could do as a concluding remark. Could you maybe show us something from your home in Netherlands now? And you already mentioned the shrine, but could you maybe show us a close-up and share a story to it? Or any other place that you feel, okay, this is home for me? Or...
Yeah, it's true. No, I remember very distinctly reading that part in the document, and I was thinking a lot about what it could be. I think, I mean, I could very much do that, but before I do, I think for me at least, I'm so lucky to live with my girlfriend, and I'm so lucky to have this beautiful house that we completely kind of decorated in really for us what is really meaningful, and every small detail here, we own it, and okay, we don't have like paintings everywhere and sculptures everywhere. But every single small element of this house is kind of what makes it. But that being said, I can still show you our shrine. So here is our goddess Saraswati. I have taken her on many trips in all the places that I've lived. It's been back and forth to France and the Netherlands, and then back to France, and then back here to most of the places where I lived. And we originally had it from India, of course. And here there's a lot of different gods and goddesses that you can see, including probably what everybody will recognize here. It was very important for us. And here is a photo of my grandparents from India that came to visit. And to bless our home, they came for the first time to visit me in the Netherlands, and they came all the way as a surprise here. And for us, that was just so beautiful that they can come and bless our home. So that, yeah, we keep that in our shrine because that's kind of it seals the home deal a little bit. But I cannot think of one object that I can, or one piece, something that I can show you. But for me, that was really valuable to mention that everything here is just ours, and makes us happy to be in such a home, and how lucky we are to have such a beautiful space, and I'm just grateful.
Why you gotta make shit complicated? Why you buying all this shit and then you waste it? Why you say I love it when you know you hate it? Life is simple, man, we don't appreciate it. Why you